Welcome to the Universe Inside Our Mind. I'm Dr. David Jubb. We have an incredible show for you today. It's all about the physiology of excellence. And just before the show I was asking everybody, well, what's physiology? What's that? Ology, of course, sort of like that gives us the idea, well, it's the study of something. And physiology in that is the study of our structure. So we're going to be talking a little bit about excellence in terms of the physiology of our structure. It's so amazing, you know, because certainly we could just listen to the words that someone uses. Certainly all of us can get a bit of an idea of how things are flowing for someone. We might not necessarily be conscious of why we could give someone a rating even, you know, 1 out of 10, like, you know, 10's really flowing very nicely, and 1 is sort of, well, you know, things are not working so good there. So we could all do that, you know, and there's been studies that show that we have the ability to be able to sort of do this. But so in the physiology of excellence, there's quite a few things that we could consider. One of the things certainly is language. If we stopped 10 people on a platform and everybody on the train was going to Sunnyvale, and we asked everybody, well, you know, what's it like in Sunnyvale? And I mean, and ask them just simply, you know, something about their journey. All 10 people might come up with something sort of unique. But within this explanation of where they're going, it's possible for us to tell quite a bit about the person. Might we, really? Some people are saying, gee, I'm glad to get away from things. A bit dissociated. Oh, I'm really looking toward or forward. Oh, this is somebody who's a bit more associated in life, you know. But our explanations of the people on the platform, interviewing them, we would be able to get a sense of how excellent things seem to be. Just, we wouldn't have to know consciously what that was, but we could get a bit of an idea of how positive a frame was it that people put things in, or how negative. Just simply that by itself. But it is amazing that those 10 people, studies that have been done to just show how much a person would frame things more positively in their life and is optimistic, a person versus, yep, that's it, you know, hellfire and doom and brimstone and you're going to die the slow, painful death of your ancestors, and that's it, you know. And life is tough, and then you die. But it is amazing that if we look at a couple of things, first we could look at, why don't we look at endogenous opiates? What are those? They are substances that we release inside ourselves as a result of our inner happiness. Endogenous opiates are released. It is so amazing that the way someone has framed things relates fairly well to how much endogenous opiates that you and I have in our body. Did you know that our endogenous opiates that we have in our body act as a secondary nervous system? So it's so amazing that as an organism is happy, it has a great potential for nerve conduction and electrical force to flow through the body through these endogenous opiates. So we've got endorphins, beta endorphins, enkephalins. We have so many substances that's within. Anandamide is another substance. And then we have tryptamine and substances which cause connection of the brainstem to the neocortex more, you know, which allows us to be able to dream and this sort of thing. But it is so amazing that when we look at endogenous opiates that somebody has, it does correlate with how optimistic somebody was on the platform there, talking about how it was for them going to Sunnyvale. Maybe that's not any surprise, but I wonder if it's possible that as a result of us hearing this, we could say, oh my God, maybe that's so very important that I could really do everything I can to be good at reframing things in my life and putting a framework around things that make things more meaningful. If I can do this for myself, I can do this for others. Wow, this is a great skill to be able to have. So when an elephant took a dump, and that seemed to be not a good thing in your living room, someone realized the benefit for the garden, and they were just so delighted that they could. We would turn SH1T into roses. That's what a short definition of reframing is. But the more that one can do these sorts of things for themselves, it's so beneficial. You know, it's amazing that when people are beautiful and relaxed, and the shoulders are really nice and relaxed, and the tummy is really nice and relaxed, and there's a lengthening of the inspiration through our nose, that has quite a marked effect on our physiology. As one lengthens the inspiration through our nose, there are centers inside our brain that register respiratory effect of breath, and is sort of regulating things more other than consciously. And there's a ventricle inside our head. We have quite a few large reservoirs of cerebral, central spinal fluid, central nervous system fluid in our brain. And these ventricles, we have the fourth ventricle, which is the largest ventricle. Inside there in the inner wall, there are cells that produce endogenous opiates, and enkephalins and beta endorphins and anandamide and all kinds of substances, which are far more potent than anything that anybody's found in, you know, substances that people could consume drug-wise. We produce within ourselves, and it's amazing. Some people are naturally happy, and their brain is. Maybe it was just passed on to them. Maybe somebody around them modelled excellence, and they just decided, Josh, I've decided to be happy. That's it. It doesn't matter what. I'm going to be happy no matter what, and I'll do what I can to be happy. And wise people made this decision, you know, some time ago. And most of all these people who made this decision, the wise people, you know, they all say that's right. I was just very tired of being angry. I was very tired of being upset, and it cost me an enormous amount of energy, and I decided that wasn't any good, and I just decided that was indulgent. And now if ever that comes up within me, I go, oops, wait a minute, that's a bit indulgent, excuse me, and just turn that around. But the one thing here that we're just saying about the physiology of excellence is the importance of how do we frame things for ourselves? How did others frame things for us? But gosh, we should be doing what we can to frame things for ourselves. If you have the ability to be able to harvest something for yourself, then that takes care of everything, doesn't it? But if somebody has to do that for you, it's not as good. But so reframing is the art of turning SH1T into roses, just like finding a meaningful solution to the elephant having taken a dump in your living room. Even when some building got blown up by fire, everybody said, oh well, gee, now the site's even worth more than it was that the house was there. It's like, oh. But reframing really is the art of actually looking to see what is the meaningful context that can be placed around something occurring, some occurrence. So the most important thing about this lesson that we're talking about is that it's yours and my response to things that counts the most, not necessarily the stimulus of things on the outside, but how we respond to things that counts the most, and how one has the ability to be able to maintain their own center and be grounded, and the lengthening of the inspiration through your nose causes endogenous opiates to be being released. So one could be in any situation, they could decide, oops, wait a minute, I need to turn the bit more happiness on here. How do we do this? Very simple. We relax our shoulders, We have a slight small arch in the back, although you don't have to, but if you're sitting you could, or you could completely be in any position and you just totally start to relax everything. Relax your tummy, relax your face, relax your hands and everything. Relax your breath, and you quieten the breath down, and it's a lengthening of the inspiration through the nose, and it's quite a lengthening, and it's amazing because there are a couple of substances that act on the respiratory areas of our brain stem that change our respiration. Some people have heard of the drug ecstasy, you know, and that drug basically causes a changing of people's respiration, and as a result of that, of course, there's a great changing of a state of consciousness. We change our state of consciousness more as a result of actually what conscious attunement there is to the component of our breath as something, as a factor, not everything, but a major factor. Of course, when we think more emptiness completely, we're without thinking, without feeling, just simply lengthening the inspiration through our nose, we've tapped into a nice amount of endogenous opiates being released. So when we come back, we're going to be talking a little bit more about the physiology of excellence. The one thing we've just said, gosh, respiration is important, tuning more into your inspiration and lengthening this, having a feeling of warmth come through your chest. There's a clearing that happens more behind the back of the nose, and there's a lengthening of the inspiration through the nose. And if you were to look back over the course of an hour past, imagine you were sitting now or standing in the future, and you're looking back, having some time passed, and there's been a lengthening of the inspiration through your nose. You'll notice that you felt a feeling of ecstasy. This is the universe inside our mind. Stay tuned for some more exciting information. We're going to be right back. Okay, we're back. It's so amazing, you know, because there's such a beautiful heart and mind connection. In the upper right atrium of our heart, in the upper ventricle, there's a small area there which releases a substance called natural atriatic factor. Natural atriatic factor is such a powerful substance, and only this is released as a result of endogenous opiates being present. But this substance assists to help regulate every single cell and the timing of every single cell. Unless you have this beautiful heart-mind connection where one is living more in the heart, this is the most powerful electrical organ in the body. So there's a beautiful warmth that spreads through the chest from the heart. This is neither sort of like a heightened state of ecstasy or what we were saying during our break is it's more a beautiful meditative state, a simple beautiful meditative state of emptiness. And so one can have accessed this as a result of their sitting quietly, lengthening the inspiration through your nose, having a warmth spread through your chest, having there been a conscious attunement more to the inspirative aspect of our breath in consciousness. There's the breath out, and that's sort of really nirvana, having let go completely, where you've breathed out and paused, and the consciousness of this. Then there's the inspiration, which is as ideas come to us and we feel inspired, and expiration is where we're breathing out and we're giving, we're expressive of ourselves. So the physiology of excellence really happens more as a result of having a posture that supports this much more so. Certainly when people can have been anxious, that caused their breathing to be more rapid. They breathed off their carbon dioxide, and the magnetic force that's held within our body is held more as a result of the building up of carbon dioxide. So most people who are other than breathing nicely through their nose all the way through their sleep can have ended up with congestion, incremental weight gain, and all kinds of major systems crisis. So that's so very important actually, that as we sleep with our breath drawn through our nose, much more so. So we can put our shoulders back, we can lengthen the inspiration through our nose, we can tune into the feelings that come more from our heart, which is more boundless and wordless. We can soften our eyes, because softer eyes just simply cause a softer, more human focus. And when we sort of more hard, it's epinephrine and norepinephrine are substances that's released when you're sort of more tensed and stressed, and they acidify and they rob blood sugar, and they destabilize all of this because it's such a swinging up and down. But our body is meant to sort of really be more working as a result of a harmony, and not this swinging up and down through emotions. If we can say, gee, for the last month I've been emotionally stable, then probably you have a good health maybe. But if we could say that we've been emotionally sometimes not well, that's evidence that we might not be coping with things as well as what we can be. And it's you and I, it's up to you and I, what you and I can do inside ourselves, not any sort of thing that's going on out there. So it's how do you manage this? And this is your response. And this is the effect of anybody's communication, is the response that you get back. Not what you said, but the response that you get back. But we might ever be aware that it's up to you and I to do what we can to be able to communicate, and communication is a response that we get back from another person. And how we manage everything in our life is one's own response. So that's something each of us, we can do something about. So when we put our shoulders back, we lengthen the inspiration through our nose. We have a slight sort of like, it's called an inner smile, a yogi's inner smile. All the information and anything that ever comes to one, it's just heard more with a sense of affection. When we listen with affection to anyone, it's possible for us to be able to get a greater indelible sense of what's going on within the person. And one only has their body eye open as a result of having this sense of affection being open. When we come back, we're going to talk a little bit about a meditation that we could do that's about physiology of excellence as far as washing the marrow of our bones. This is Dr. David Jubb. This is the universe inside our mind. Stay tuned for some more exciting information coming up.
This is a funny show.
It's a funny show, that's right. In between everything, we've been having a bit of funny, I can tell you. David's here with us. We're shooting this in the East Village. Ray's behind the lens of the camera. What's that?
State Building.
You want to go to the Empire State Building? Well, we're shooting this in New York, and we have the opportunity to be able to do that, I can tell you. But anyway, we're talking about how you wash the marrow of your bones. It's so amazing though, because there's this piece of equipment. It's called a super quantum interference device, and it measures very, very fine, minute electromagnetic waves. And it's amazing because when somebody has a thought and they have a crystal in their hand, they can push energy out the crystal or not. It's amazing that some clairvoyants have the ability to be able to see energy, and then certainly there's equipment and things that can get us a sense of the effect of this energy. And anyway, so it's amazing that when you're breathing in, the pores of your skin are closed, and energy, matter of fact, as you're breathing in through your nose, of course, is pouring in through the joints of your bones. And the skin is closed, and you're filling up like a balloon as you're breathing in. And energy is pouring in through the joints, actually, coming in through the joints. And as you're breathing in, energy is filling up through the marrow and pouring into the ligaments and connective tissue. And then, of course, as we breathe out, the pores open of the skin and the energy comes out through the muscle and out through the skin. So there's this beautiful cycle, whether we were aware of it or not. One could become a bit more conscious of this and have a meditative state where you're in a meditation where you've got this wheel happening inside yourself, and you can be sitting or laying somewhere quietly, and you can do this meditation. It's called washing the marrow of our bones, and that's a beautiful thing to be able to reorganize and help energize the very deeper parts of ourself and assist with this energy flow. It is so amazing that during the break we talked a little bit about, would it be possible actually that if somebody changed their posture, would this change their state of being? And of course the answer is yes. Just imagine listening and communicating to someone on the phone, and you have your shoulders back and your heart out and you're present right there, versus talking with someone on the phone with your head cocked over to one side or hunched over. There can be a big difference in one's feeling, and certainly when everyone ever calls you, you can hear through the quality of the person's voice if they sound excellent or they sound a little stressed or something. We have such a great ability to be able to do this. Studies show that all people who have at least 3 mood qualifying ways that they can sense emotion, if you have at least 3 mood qualifying ways you can sense emotion, we're fairly confident in being able to predict a person's emotions. And of course, maybe we don't consciously know why it is that we felt this way, but we did feel this way, and it is because of things we could become more conscious of. Certainly we've talked about how do we language things. Framing things positively is is useful for a longer life. Studies show that when one has reached their 50s and they're an optimistic kind of person, they tend to live much longer than people who reach the age of 50 and are more pessimists. Optimists live a longer life and pessimists live a shorter life. It is so amazing because when possums didn't have any animals wanting to eat them, like on the Galapagos Islands, those Galapagos Islands have been a beautiful experiment in nature where it was connected to the mainland, and then possums got stranded by water, and then these possums grew up without any predators. And possums that grow up without any predators have no stress, and they live twice as long as possums who have to be stressed out, having to watch their back everywhere they are when they're climbing into someone's fruit tree somewhere. Possums living without any stress at all live much longer life. And it is so amazing that one of the principles of the most long-lived life is inner calm. Out of all of the elements that go toward having a long life, a sense of having an inner calm is probably the most important one. Could we say that a physiology of excellence is really more, not really sort of being in your feelings and feeling things, not really sort of hearing, not seeing, but this awareness we're talking about is sort of really beyond our senses. It's an awareness we have beyond experience. It's not limited to experience. This I, which is the seat of consciousness, more comes from this beautiful empty space, and this is what is original. And everything else that arises and falls is more temporary in comparison, is really just like is a story. So all the story really is made up, and you know, some stories are more excellent than others, but all stories are made up. We perceive everything around us through what this is inside ourself. And we only can perceive things because things are being made up inside. And the truth is the whole world and universe flows inside of self. And the moon and the sun and all the stars around that you see are organs of your own self. We only have an ultradian cycle and all kinds of diurnal cycles and things that happen within the day, and daily cycles that occur as a result of our planetary constellation and the constellation of the stars in the heavens. The more that we're open to this, the more that we become more natural by being quiet and empty and more living in a meditative state. This is not being present, like lots of teachers say. This is not being in the past or the future. This is more timeless being now. Timeless. This is not present nor future nor past. This is timelessness. This is no issue about time at all. This is where time doesn't exist. This is sort of being more, having an awareness beyond temporalness inside ourselves. So we live more in excellence when we put our shoulders back, put our heart out, soften our eyes, have an inner yogi smile. We stop interpreting things. We stop this inner chatter. We quieten down all this chatter, and we lengthen the inspiration through our nose, and we're sort of more mindless. Mindlessness is equivalent to peace, thank you very much, rather than being so mindful. But mindlessness is equal to peace. Leisure and recreation more are defined by states of mind rather than activity. The quality behind the task is more a state of being and a state of mind rather than simply an activity. So this is Dr. David Jubb. This is the universe inside our mind. We've had a great show all about the physiology of excellence. We'll catch up to the future show.